When you think of Sun Devil football, you think of Sun Devil for life. If we get the Valley all in, the sky is the limit.
I went to Arizona State. I'm a Sun Devil, man.
I'm home.
Hello, Sun Devil fans. Brad Denny with 3TV, CBS 5, and the Speak of the Devils podcast here. Welcome back for another episode of the Speak of the Devils Sit-Down series, where I bring you in-depth one-on-one conversations with key players, coaches, and other figures within Sun Devil athletics. Here's a trivia question. How many true freshmen have ever led Arizona State in sacks? All right, time's up. Here's your answer. 4. Terrell Suggs, Junior Onyeali, Merlin Robertson, and BJ Green. And if you notice, there's one outlier among that group. Those first 3 were heralded 4-star blue chip recruits. Well, BJ Green was a walk-on. And ever since stepping foot in Tempe on his way from Georgia, Green has surpassed external expectations and has been a key part of the Sun Devil defense. And last year, tied for the team lead in sacks yet again. After a brief stint in the transfer portal after this season, he decided to remain a Sun Devil, and he then put on a dominant showing throughout spring practice after a move out to defensive end, which sets the stage for a big 2023 season. On this episode, we discuss why he came back to Arizona State, the motivation from last year's struggles, the new defense and his move out to the edge, what Southern food he wants to see in Tempe, the inspiring reason behind his major, and much more. So let's get to it. Here's my conversation with BJ Green. All right, BJ, so this past spring I was covering one of the scrimmages out in Sun Devil Stadium, and true story, Twitter told me that I had already tweeted another sack by BJ Green too many times. Wouldn't let me tweet it, so I had to rephrase it. Obviously, you put together a pretty significant and monstrous spring. What do you think were some of the factors that kind of led to such a strong showing for you?
I just, during this off season, I just kind of kept replaying doing the same thing but expecting a different result. It's called insanity, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, it's time to turn it up a notch. It's time to come at this from a different angle. They had me at 3-tech the last 2 seasons, but this year they had me at defensive end. So I'm like, I'm going to be at defensive end. I got to come with a different type of, tenacity, a different type of hunger, a different type of a dog. That's what I got to be, and that's that role I'm going to play on the defensive line. So that's what really contributed to that.
Obviously, from the practice 1 to through the spring game, you obviously put together a very strong stretch there. When you look back at those 15 sessions, what were kind of the biggest strides that you saw, the biggest developments in your game from practice 1 to practice 15?
Just being able to just get my, my rush angles correct, coming from, going inside to outside, everything it's not as immediate, but, it still happens pretty fast. So you have to get everything right. Being able to finish on the quarterback, getting to the quarterback has always come very natural to me. So that wasn't a problem. Always getting all the technical things down, getting all my alignment and assignment down. That's what I really worked on and harped on.
You being a returner on a team with so many newcomers, tons of new faces out there. What was that experience like? With obviously just a lot of new faces on the field, but on the sidelines as well with the new staff.
I think it's been a mixture. It's been a good cooperation of what I want, what we want as returners, what we want to see Arizona State football become, as well as bringing that new taste and flavor of what they want Arizona State football to be, and just seeing how it aligns. What we can do to, reach that goal. That's what it's been like, honestly. Just with the newcomers coming in, just letting them know what the mentality is. It's a new culture, so we coming attacking every day. Everybody set the standard.
What did you see from the coaching staff in terms of what things they did to kind of get all those newcomers kind of integrated with the returning guys and kind of the standards of this program quickly, and so you guys could hit that field running on when spring opened up?
They do a good job of team bonding. We have team competition every Friday. We got to whether it's a physical competition or we got a trivia competition, try to memorize, where all of our teammates are from, what high school, they went to, what state they from. They do a great job of making sure that we're all one cohesive unit. So
And as you mentioned, your off season, kind of resetting the goals and refocusing and getting ready for bigger things ahead. Obviously, that off season included a brief trip into the transfer portal. Obviously, which anytime a coaching staff gets changed out, what were some of the factors that kind of maybe led you to explore some options before ultimately coming back?
When the old staff left, it was a bit, overwhelming. You just don't know what's set for certain and everything. And, being in that portal for that brief moment. But, Dillingham and Coach Ward and Coach Amy and Coach Rego, they reassured me, like, hey, we want you here. We want to build this program here, and how, me, I want to build something that I've been at. I want to see what Arizona football can truly be, and that's great. So that's what contributed to that.
Yeah, you mentioned just 3 days later, you take your name out of the portal, stay in the maroon and gold. Those conversations that you had with your new coaches. What were some of the specific things that kind of really led you to believe, and what were some of the other factors beyond what they told you that led you to stay in Tempe?
Just wanted to be somewhere grounded. You know what I'm saying? Like just not. I don't like. I mean, I want to be somewhere and be there for a long time. I want to build a legacy. At Arizona State, I want to be one of the best defensive linemen ever come out of here. That's something that, I told them, like, I want to leave my mark at this school. My story ain't even finished at the school. So, that's what they told me. And then, like, Dillingham kept it real. He was like, let's be honest, you really don't want to leave here. Deep down, I was like, nah, I really don't. So, that's what really led to that decision. Other than that, you was like, they like what I could do on the field as well, being versatile, being able to play, defensive tackle and defensive end, and how that fits into Coach Ward's system. And I like the way they used me in spring, which you saw the success of that. So, I'm all in with them. So.
And of course, last season, not exactly what anybody hoped for in terms of the win-loss record or such. What does it mean to have the chance to kind of run it back, get that bad taste out of the mouth and put together a better seasons ahead for this program?
It means a lot, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've always played with the underdog mentality. Everybody thinks that this is going to be the same Arizona State that they saw last year, and it's completely different. It's a different type of tenacity. It's a different nasty that we're going to be playing with. And I think it's dangerous for people to, overlook and think that that's the standard that we coming with. And, you can't really say too much on that. You just going to have to see in the fall.
Now, when you do look back at last year and kind of evaluate your play and on the field and what happened, what are some of the things that kind of stuck out to you about your play that you did well, and some things that kind of jumped out to you on the film that you want to look for and improve going forward?
Some things that I did well. I was with the opportunities given. I still had a high production rate when it came to like generating pressure. I led the team in sacks my freshman year, tied for lead sophomore year. But, this year I want to focus on finishing and, actually having the sack record. I want, more than 5 sacks, 10-plus tackles for a loss. And, I keep working and going in the direction that I'm going. I think I'll achieve everything and then some. So.
Going through that 3-win season, a lot of adversity for this program, a lot of stuff that you guys, kind of was outside of the players' control in terms of, the kind of coaching staff and all the way things shook out there. Going through, such a hard year, what were some of the lessons that you took from going through and enduring that adversity?
It's like not everything is, just given to you. You gotta go take everything that you want. It's all about what you build within the team and, how we respond to adversity, and these things might not always be going in our favor, but you just got to respond in the right ways. That's the biggest things that I took from that.
Now, just on a personal level, how tough was it seeing like the coaching staff that brought you here? Obviously, it is a business, so you're seeing them depart, and especially a guy like Robert Rodriguez, a guy that noticed that when covering practices, guys, it seemed that like you guys had really kind of built a good rapport. Just how tough was it to see those guys go?
It was very tough because Coach Rod, he gave me the opportunity to play Power 5 college football. Helped me earn a scholarship. Coach Herm, I'm forever going to be grateful to him for, helping me get that, and just seeing them transition, to where they are now. Coach Rod's back in the NFL, coaching with the Cardinals. It's crazy how life works. I'm happy for him, but, we still got stuff to handle down here.
One of the things that kind of really stuck out to me is one of the lone face that's returning on that coaching staff, Sean Aguano. obviously put in a very difficult situation and kind of guiding the ship after the coaching change. What were some of the things that you saw from Coach Iguano and just trying to hold things together and get and kind of get this season continuing on in a very difficult situation?
I give all the credit to Coach Iguano just holding the ship together. Even though it had its cracks, and then but he just he was a good captain during the time and helped lead us through. We all appreciate him for doing what he had to do to make sure that we finished this thing out. He didn't let anybody quit. He said what we start we're gonna finish, and that's what we did. So.
Now that it's been 6 months, looking at this current tenure, 6 months since Coach Dillingham kind of arrived in Tempe, back home at his alma mater, what are the big things that really jump out to you in terms of the differences in the culture and kind of just the day-to-day being in this program of Sun Devil football over these past 6 months versus the first couple of years that you were here?
Energy and responsiveness, just listening to us, with our opinions and everything, that was the big thing, Coach Dillingham, he brings that energy every day, and he challenges us to bring it as well. And that's what I like, our player loads actually have increased, just for him bringing that energy and just challenging us to bring it every day. Whereas, the last time, I wouldn't say that people took it off, but, sometimes, the energy wasn't always there. But this year is not even a necessity, but it just has to be there.
It seems to me, just covering spring ball and just kind of seeing and you guys interact with the coaches in those opportunities. The guys have really kind of taken to this culture of kind of being competitive, but also having fun. Kind of the main event stuff during the spring practices and such. How have you seen your teammates kind of take to this new era? Obviously, there's a lot of newcomers that don't necessarily have a frame of reference from previous seasons, but just overall, how is this Sun Devil roster kind of taken to this new Kenny Dillingham era?
I think we've all, responded like I said before. It challenges everyone to bring that energy because you don't know when your name's going to be called. Like how you said, the main event, you could be dog tired from doing an individual drill, and then you get over there and it's a one-on-one. You got to win because, the defense is going to be riding on you. You know what I'm saying? It's just a mentality that you got to come and bring your A game every day because, every day is an interview. And that's I like that type of mentality because you get the best out of people every day.
It seems like Coach Dillingham really is building a good rapport with a lot of guys, and kind of even some nice, good-natured trash talk in terms of games of spades or whatnot. What is do you have a favorite Coach Kenny story so far over these first 6 months?
Not really. I just think it's pretty funny. Me and Coach Dilly, over the phone, talking to him. When I was in the portal, I just think it was pretty funny, how he not even I wouldn't say he read my mind, but just talking to me on the phone, he was like, "Listen, I know you don't want. We both know you don't want to leave. So why don't we just make this thing work?" And I was like, "That's just the funniest thing for me because he acts like that every day. It's not a show. That's just who he is."
What is it like just having a coach? Obviously on the younger end of the spectrum, youngest in the Power Five, just have that relatability, perhaps that perhaps a lot that wasn't there with the last staff.
I think it helps because he understands what we would like to have as a team, but he also makes us earn it. He doesn't give us anything. He's everything that we've gotten, we've earned, and I like that about him. He's very young, so he understands, but he's also our coach. So we had that respect for him. We had that respect, but we also have fun.
You're one of the veterans on this roster, a guy who obviously has led the team in sacks a couple of years and coming in for a very crucial year for this program. Do you see yourself kind of now stepping up more as one of the older players in this team, stepping up in a leadership capacity?
Oh, most definitely. It's kind of surreal, walking around the locker room and people walk past me saying, "What's up, big bro?" And I'm like, "Big bro, I was this little bro yesterday." But I think I've taken up the challenge. I accepted it. You gotta look after people. Being a big brother figure. Help guiding people. Like CJ. Doing extremely well in spring for a freshman. And his ceiling is so high. So I've accepted that role very well.
How would you describe your leadership style? There's a lot of ways that guys can lead. How does BJ Green lead?
I think I lead more by example. I don't really I don't talk too much. I say my piece about what things should be done. But me, I've always been a firm believer in why not go do it and show them what needs to be done? Whether I say it, tell them what needs to be done. A leader better, like how they always say, a leader is right there next to the soldiers, whether they're trying to lead from the back. So.
Now, looking going into the trenches a little bit, you of course, making that move over out to the outside at defensive end, coming off the edge like that. How did that move kind of come about? Was that something that the coaching staff brought to you? Was that something that you thought you'd be a good fit for, or was it kind of more of a collaborative effort in between?
I think it was they presented it to me, and I just accept. I was thinking about that as well, and just seeing the potential, being able to be primarily a defensive end, and just seeing how my abilities work there, but also being able to move inside depending on the pass rush situation. And I like that idea, and I took it and I ran with it. Then and the production spoke for itself.
Now, what does this scheme under defensive coordinator Brian Ward really kind of ask of its defensive ends? What are the primary responsibilities that are now on your plate with this position move?
I think we bring a lot of chaos. I think that's what the defense asks for us. We rush, we set the edge, we bring hell, ask questions later. That's what the defense asks for us. We bring a lot of chaos. I think that the deep edges are the X factor of the defense right now. You can never account for everybody. We gonna be the ones that put the pressure on the quarterback to make bad decisions.
Now, one of the things that both Ward and Kenny have said is that, depending on matchups and situations that, and especially given the talent level of the teams, those edge guys, that, they might have 2, 3, 4 edges on the field at a time. With your versatility and your experience playing on the inside, do you still expect to see some snaps on the interior?
Most definitely. That's something that I've expected that I've done in spring. That's something that they've always told me as well. In those situations where those matchups things happen. If there's a guard that's not as technically sound as the tackles are, we're bringing an extra edge, and I'll move in the tackle. I'll be in 3-tech, and where I'll expose them. So.
Now, what technical differences and kind of just, X's and O's type stuff, or real kind of, inside baseball stuff, in terms of, playing or technique, have you seen that are different from, going from that 3-tech inside to now playing more on the edge and kind of pinning the ears back and getting after the quarterback?
I like to think of edge like it's more of an island type thing. It's just you and the tackle out there. But whereas in 3-tech, a lot of things happen a lot faster. It's the guard that you have to worry about, but the tackle also can crack down on you. And your hands are definitely faster. But I think that's something that I've taken from the inside, and I brought it with me outside. Just having those very fast physical hands. But I've always had those as growing up. But yeah, those are the main differences between being a 3-tech and being outside. You also have to worry about spatial differences outside because you drop, and you have to worry about the coverages as well.
Now, of course, playing inside and outside, there's some different coaches that are helping coach you up. Obviously Vince Amy's, taking over the defensive tackles, and Charlie Regal, my old high school coach, ironically going way back to the days at Moon Valley, coaching the edges there. What are some things that kind of stand out about learning from Coach Regal and Coach Amy?
Coach Amy brings the energy all the day. Coach Regal's like a fun uncle, but we always get the job done. It's like a salt and pepper type combination with both of them. It's always a good time, but we get the job done.
And then, obviously a lot of new faces in that along the edges as well. Some of the returning guys like yourself, Michael Matus, but, guys like Clayton Smith coming over, a freshman like Ashley Williams, a lot of new faces and new blood that are going to be coming off and joining you, attacking offenses off the edge. What's that dynamic like kind of inside that group, that room of edges and the defensive ends?
I think we all push each other to be better, it's all, it's competition, but it's also we want to be the best room in the building, we bring that attitude every day. Coach Greg, we always have our fun in there, but we get the job done. Coach Silver, he always gives us the details of how we're supposed to play about certain techniques. We go out there a little bit earlier than most groups, and we go out there and we walk through it. That way, when it comes to practice, we can do it, execute it to a high level. So that's how our room operates. Coach Michael Matus, not coach, but he's dang near like a coach the way how technical he is. But yeah, he's. If I'm a vet, he's an OG on this team. He's seen it all. He always has the right answers for and everybody's questions, including myself. So
now, of course, you're heading into 2023 with a two-time team leader in sacks. You're now a scholarship player, but what would you today go back and tell incoming walk-on true freshman B.J. Green about some pieces of advice that you've learned over these first couple of years in the maroon and gold?
Keep the. Well, I've always kept the same hunger, but I just remind them don't stop. Just always keep pushing it, and always look to work for more. Because it's gonna work out in the end. You know what I'm saying? Like being a walk on. Things were tough, but I tell them that it's worth it. The story's still being written, and just have fun. I feel like a lot of people forget. Football is a sport to be played to have fun. Even though it has been like in college football turning into a business almost, but some people be forgetting that it's supposed to be having fun when you play, and I feel like my best football's played when I have fun. So
now you have one of the most interesting majors on this team, mechanical engineering. How's that work going, and what are some of the things that you're looking to do with that degree? Whenever you hang up the cleats.
Engineering that's a handful to be dealing with while I played football. I look to be able to work in the entertainment industry with, engineering, like going into special effects or practical effects, seeing how like Disney, like you made like robotics, integrated robotics into their, their actual like amusement parks and how they worked with those, I've always been fascinated with animatronics, but I also like, I would like the opportunity to be able to learn how to make prosthetics for people who can't really afford them, having two siblings with disabilities. I've always seen, people like who've had, those disabilities not being able to afford, those basic necessities like, a literal arm and a leg. So being able to like, provide those things for people in need would be, dream come true for sure.
Oh, that's really awesome to hear. Obviously, this is kind of the off season. You guys are hard at work, with the off season workouts, but as a time to kind of recharge and get ready for the season ahead. What are some of the things that you like to do to kind of decompress and recharge outside of football?
I'm a big movie goer. I like to, I just bought myself a new TV for my room, 55 inch. But, I like to watch movies. It helps me like mentally escape from just what I'm just like the task at hand right then and there. I just saw The Little Mermaid and Spider-Man. So, I've always gone to the movies, but I also like classics. One of my favorite classic movies is The Goonies. I like Little Rascals. Those are all like Back to the Future, Harry Potter. I've always just, been big on cinema.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Back to the Future is one of my personal favorites, and I know Jordan Clark was tweeting out that the new Spider-Man is like one of the best movies of all time. Period. So I have yet to see it. So if both you guys are recommending, I guess I gotta head down there.
Yeah, you definitely got to see it. Have you seen the first one?
I did, and I loved it. So I'm looking forward to the second one.
I was gonna tell you, you got to watch the first one to watch the second one. Nothing gonna make sense unless you do. So,
good. Obviously, you're a guy out of Georgia, guy out of the South. The South and Arizona have some differences. What's a spot in Georgia? Maybe something that, a Georgia food staple or something that you think the Tempe area could use.
Oh my God, I'd have had this list since my freshman year. We need a Zaxby's for sure. We need a Zaxby's. We need a Bojangles. Yeah. We need an American deli. We need some good wing spots out here. Matter of fact, if any wing spot, there's a good wing spot out here, please hit me up. Oh my Lord.
So actually, on the wing spot, I was talking to, I believe it was Coach Carrington for one of these podcasts, and I was asking him, and he was raving about Valley Wings. So
Valley Wings?
Yeah, he swears by that. He says it's the best he's had. So
I'll be the judge of that. ATL, we good. We're notorious for wings.
Yeah.
But no, Zaxby's. We need Zaxby's out here. We definitely need a freaking cane. We have canes, but Bojangles, Bowberry biscuit. Oh.
Okay. I've heard of them, but I've never been there because I'm a Phoenix native, so I've just stayed out west. But okay, I'm making some notes if when ASU's got some road games in the SEC country in the future years, so I'll be sure to check those out.
Yeah, you got to. It's mandatory.
So, I'm just kind of curious. Obviously, one of the big storylines right now is just kind of the Pac-12 and the Pac-12 media deal and the future of ASU. Do players, or do you even care about that kind of stuff, or is that just all kind of like stuff that just doesn't concern you? Just like you're just kind of more concerned about what's going on the field.
I'm really I'm a day by day type of guy. I'd like to just focus on like what I have the task at hand, and the task at hand for me right now is being able to like get this team, like being able to train with my teammates, and getting us to like building that bond together, with the new guys coming in and the guys that were here during spring. So yeah, not really focused on like the outside factors.
Now, obviously, NIL is such a huge part of the game, and one of the interesting things and I had a conversation with Jalen Conyers, for example, and he kind of dispelled the myth that perhaps some fans have that just players are trying to get the top dollar, but he's just like I just want something to kind of be able to get by in my day to day. If I want to go out to dinner with the guys or something, I don't have to worry about that. What's your view of NIL, and what do you think a player in your position really wants in terms of the NIL space, or what players could use from the ASU side of things and kind of the collective side?
I think that it's been like just for some schools it's been like a necessity to get those top guys that they otherwise wouldn't have. But I think for ASU, since we're like Coach Dillingham always preaches, we're in one of the top markets in the nation. We always like we live in paradise in our backyard. So I don't like definitely we don't like. Plus we have like high caliber football. But me personally, when I be on NIL, I play for the love of the sport, honestly. And NIL provides opportunities that I normally wouldn't have, Jones Forest, Verde, provided me with my first car ever. So, it's definitely opened many doors that, that otherwise would have been more difficult to attain. But yeah, that's why I think about a view of NIL it provides opportunities for a lot of athletes.
Some nice news came out today that the team, for the first time in a few years, is going to be heading back up to Camp T, Arizona. You looking forward to Camp T and roughing it for a few days? It's gonna be me versus the wilderness, and it's gonna be a fun time. It's gonna be quite interesting to see how our teammates interact, being like out of cell distance and being exposed to each other for that long. It's going to be a funny time. Yeah, a lot of bonding, and as a lot of fans like to say, no ASU team has ever won the conference title without a trip up to Camp T. So that's a good starting place there. Obviously over the next couple months before fall camp opens up near the end of July. What are some of the areas that you're kind of focusing on with your off-season work? My speed, my closing to the ball speed. That's what I'm definitely working on. What I'm also working on, just being able to tone up, gain more muscle mass, and just training, buying into Coach Joe's, workout regimen that he has for us, and just, coming out on the end of that tunnel, and just being ready to play ball. It's obviously a new scheme, new attitude, and you guys, I thought, looked pretty good throughout the course of spring ball on all three levels. How good do you think this defense can be? Obviously getting some new pieces as well through the portal, some new faces as well, but also a lot of returning guys. How good overall do you think this Sun Devil defense can be in 2023? It's not even a matter of could be. I know we're going to be a dangerous team to deal with for anybody in the Pac-12. We're going to be extremely dangerous and very, very, very. We're going to cause a lot of chaos for a lot of people, just in the secondary, with the linebackers making the play calls and us just breaking havoc in the trenches. So, for you personally, what kind of goals and expectations have you set forth for your third season? I want to be a difference maker this season. I want to reach that all-conference goal. Everybody, I want that All-American goal. 10 plus sacks. That's what I want. That's what I'm shooting for. 10 plus. 10 plus tackles for a loss. I wanted 5 plus. Forced fumbles. Because forced fumbles change games. That's what I want. That's what I'm shooting. That's what I'm shooting for, and that's what I'll speak into an existence. I'd like to thank BJ for taking the time to talk with me for this episode. I'd also like to thank Jeremy Hawks of ASU Media Relations. Make sure you are subscribed to Speak of the Devils on the podcast platform of your choice for more episodes featuring guests such as Brian Ward, Brian Carrington, Ray Anderson, Chris Edmonds, DJ Foster, Jalen Conyers, Trenton Bourget, and many more. And also be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at bdenny29.